Well, joining me now to discuss this and the wider implications are the columnist and broadcaster Milo Yiannopoulos and the journalist Reni Lodge. They're in our central London studios for us this evening. Very good evening to you both. Reni, how do you feel about being called different because you're hardwired differently? I'm sure it's not something you've failed to hear before. It just seems to keep cropping up. Is it necessary?
It's ridiculous. It's 50s thinking, you know. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, this biological determinism. Frankly, you know, interests and talent and, you know, passions for particular topics, subjects, sports, arts, whatever, like, they're not relegated to either gender, but unfortunately, because of some stereotypical thinking, often one gender is encouraged to pursue, you know, a sport or an art more so than the other. And actually, when you look at my colleague at the Telegraph, Radhika Saghani, she wrote a piece just this morning speaking to like young girls who play chess. And actually, what she found out is that they're dropping out at the age of 12, probably because, you know, they're not encouraged, or, you know, there's an environment around that's telling them that it's not for them, it's not cool, etc., etc. So, you know, this hardwired brain stuff, like it's retrosexism.
So, Milo Yiannopoulos, does it matter if men and women are wired differently, have different skills?
No, it doesn't matter in the sense that they are equal but different, but it simply isn't true to say that there is no difference whatsoever between the aptitudes of men and women. And it is, without question, true that there are some biological differences between men and women, and we know that from our anatomy. But we also know it from experiments that we do on young children before they've had the opportunity to be socialized, the sorts of toys that they go for. And that holds true, actually, for other bits of the animal kingdom as well. Some of the reason why girls drop out of STEM subjects at college and chess clubs is because they keep losing. And one of the reasons they keep losing is that it does seem to be the case that chess as a game plays to some of the male intellectual virtues. And when Simon Baron-Cohen talks about these, the way he describes it is men are good at systematizing and women are good at empathizing. And there is some reason to suppose that that may have some basis in biology. It's very trendy these days to say that everything is socially determined, but that's not what the science says. And it's not either what common sense says, because if it were true, these days there would be a lot more representation of women in the sciences, in astrophysics, in philosophy, in mathematics, and in chess, but there isn't.
So, Reni, does that make sense? And does it really matter? I mean, should we just accept that we are slightly different, have different skills, pursue them, or should we all be striving to be as good as each other at everything?
It seems really reductive, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look around at your, you know, male and female friends and families, you'll see a vast, like a huge wide variety and diversity in interests and talents and passions, right? And also I think that it's ridiculous to assume that the reason why one gender is overrepresented in a field is because the other gender is not quite up to it. I mean, often, you know, if a field is homogenous, right, which, as we can see, chess is homogenous, that also brings with it a culture that makes things unwelcoming for people who do not quite fit the bill. Like, it's almost victim blaming in a way to suggest that the reason why there's an overrepresentation of a particular kind of person is because the other kind of person just isn't quite up to it. Like, it's ridiculous. If that was the case, we don't live in a meritocracy. So
it's nice to have these sort of vague, waffly, sort of everyone has varied interests. What the science suggests is that, for example, when it comes to IQ is distributed differently between the sexes. Now, IQ gets a really bad rap because it's not a great indicator of some things. It's said to be sexist, it's said to be biased towards white people, whatever. The point is that it tests, in this case, it tests all of the skills that make you good at chess really well. It's about puzzles, it's about games, exactly the skills that make you good at chess, make you good at IQ. Now, the way that IQ is distributed differently in the sexes is that women tend to cluster around the mean. Women are more likely to have an IQ that is somewhere near the average, whereas men go right to the top or right to the bottom more often, which is why you get great genius male artists and philosophers, but it's also why men fill the prisons, because men seem to occupy more of the ends of the IQ scale. And now IQ is pretty much the best measure we have to predict whether somebody will be good at chess.
And what it proves, and what it also proves, is that men and women can talk forever. It's been a pleasure talking to you both. We're going to leave it there. Thank goodness we're all different.
Yes, indeed. Thanks.